Awesome news for everyone. We have some brand new information on the third round of $1,400 stimulus checks from Social Security Administration Commissioner Andrew Saul. He just released this statement on the official SSA website. Andrew Saul said in the statement, "I want to provide an important update about the Social Security Administration's processing of economic impact payments under the American Rescue Plan Act. It was the substantial efforts of SSA that successfully overcame the fact that the IRS did not have a mechanism to automatically identify supplemental security income recipients, some of the most financially insecure people in America. It was SSA that pushed the prior administration and Congress to allow us to send to IRS a file of those individuals who do not receive Forms SSA 1099, so that IRS could automatically issue economic impact payments to them. Well, everyone, we finally have our answer. We now know why third stimulus checks for SSI, SSDI, VA, railroad retirement, and survivors beneficiaries are being delayed. All this time, it was the Internal Revenue Service who did not have the correct information and files to send out the $1,400 payments to millions of Americans. That is so crazy. The IRS knew that it did not have the necessary information needed to send out stimulus checks, but the agency did not do anything about it. The IRS left millions of Americans in the dark for months. It is really upsetting, but I am glad the SSA is finally taking action," Saul also stated. SSA discussed with Treasury and IRS, both before passage and after enactment of the $1.9 trillion bill, that the Social Security Act does not allow the agency to use our administrative appropriation to conduct work on any non-mission provision or program. Accordingly, we were not authorized to substantively engage Treasury or IRS prior to the American Rescue Plan's passage. Instead, upon passage, we were required to pursue a reimbursable agreement with IRS because we received no direct appropriation through the passed bill. From the outset of discussions, we kept congressional staff apprised of the hurdles this approach would create for SSA. And we have continued to update them on our progress with IRS as we completed the required interagency agreements. I just don't understand why it is taking the agencies so long to fix all of this mess. It is crazy how the Social Security Administration and Internal Revenue Service still have not announced a delivery date or deadline for Americans that receive government benefits, like SSI or SSDI. It has been 2 weeks since President Joe Biden signed the $1.9 trillion American Rescue Plan into law. Americans need that money now. The Social Security has now sent files to the Internal Revenue Service that could free up outstanding stimulus payments to nearly 30 million Americans. So you can expect to receive your next stimulus check very soon, which is very great news, everyone. If you have any questions, leave in the comments below. I will answer them as soon as possible. Please subscribe if you want the latest stimulus news and updates. To help all of you, I will be posting a few times a day to bring you any new information from the IRS or Direct Express. Please share this video with your family and friends, so we can help as many people as we can finally get their third stimulus check. Many Americans claim the IRS and SSA are not sending out stimulus checks to some Americans on purpose. In response, Saul released a statement on Thursday strongly denying those claims. Saul said the Social Security Administration was initially limited in how much it could do based on how its role is defined by the Social Security Act and the terms outlined in the American Rescue Plan Act. Saul also stated, "Once we were free to move forward, we aggressively worked with Treasury and IRS to issue payments. Social Security employees have literally worked day and night with IRS staff to ensure that the electronic files of Social Security and SSI recipients are complete, accurate, and ready to be used to issue payments. As of 8:48 a.m. this morning, the necessary files were transferred to the IRS, thus allowing the payments to make their way to beneficiaries." Well, I am really glad that Democratic lawmakers want to promptly send out the $1,400 stimulus checks. A group of Democratic lawmakers stated, "Now the IRS needs to do its job and get these overdue payments out to suffering Americans. Further delays will not be tolerated by this committee." What are your thoughts on this, everyone? Leave them in the comments below. That is the end of the video, everyone. I hope you found this video helpful. Make sure to enter the $50 Amazon gift card giveaway by subscribing to my channel, liking this video, and commenting below.
Passing Rosa DeLauri's legislation, the Equal Pay legislation, Paycheck Fairness Act, we call it, when we come back after Easter and Passover. again, this is so necessary for women. When you think that during the COVID crisis, 2.3 million women lost their jobs, a million of them moms. So moving forward, we have initiatives that help women that we passed just before we left, whether it's the Violence Against Women Act, passing lifting the date requirement on the ERA, again in the COVID package, on the rescue package, $40 billion, largely $39 billion of it for child care, $1 billion for Head Start, all of it enabling women working, children learning, parents earning, children learning. As you know, before we left, we passed legislation that was quite prescient in terms of its need. The legislation HR 8 and HR 1446, which were about the background check legislation, Mr. Mike Thompson's legislation and Mr. Clyburn's legislation. Since we passed those bills, we had the tragedy in Georgia and now the tragedy in Colorado. So we hope that this, I was disappointed when I was shocked when the little children were shot in Connecticut, and then the school-age children, high schoolers in Florida. We thought that would be so compelling that there would be a change in attitude in the Congress to match the change in attitude in the country, where over high 80% of the American people support responsible background check legislation. So we're hoping that we can get something done on the Senate, and I commend Mr. Thompson and Mr. Clyburn for their leadership. As I said, it's an eventful week. This is a committee work week for us. And again, we talked about some of the, earlier in the week, the chairman of the Fed spoke to the Financial Services Committee, as is required by the law, Humphrey Hawkins, that says the Fed chairman comes at a regular basis to talk about inflation and to talk about unemployment. And the testimony was very compelling and very reassuring that inflation is not a challenge to what we want to do as we go forward with the Recovery Act, that more needs to be done. Right now, as we speak here, the committee is meeting, Energy and Commerce Committee, hearing from CEOs of social media companies. And it's I do believe there's a bipartisan coming together about really getting to the bottom of the misinformation. For some of these companies, especially Facebook, their business model is to make money on misinformation and to do so in a way that is dangerous to our democracy.